Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Bible Illustrated Hands. Today's question comes from Patrick Mutzi. He asks, are there different levels of heaven and hell? Thank you for the question, Patrick. This question hinges on a very important question of what are heaven and hell. And in Orthodoxy, heaven and hell are states of how you perceive God. So if you perceive Him as love, as light, as goodness itself, that is heaven. But if you hated God and you perceive Him as boring, nagging, evil, vindictive, whatever, that is hell for you. So I would say that heaven and hell aren't specifically physical places per se, even though, of course, yes, we will be resurrected at the last trumpet, so there is, in a way, a physical element to it, but they are not specifically places. They are the states of our souls and bodies at the second coming of Christ. Now, so are there different levels of heaven and hell? Yes, there are. There are as many levels of heaven and hell as there are people, because I believe that simultaneously saints and sinners will perceive their heaven and hell similarly, but also that each one in a way will be unique. Just in the same way, for example, you have, imagine every person in your life. Each of those persons has a different sort of a relationship with every other person they know. You know your mother as a mother, somebody knows her as a daughter, somebody knows her as his husband, somebody knows her as a best friend, somebody knows her as her arch nemesis, So, and that's the same person. And in the same way, I would assume, but then again, I do not know, that we would perceive our heavens and our hells differently. Usually, when people ask if there are different, layers of heaven and hell, what they usually mean, like, will there be different levels or layers for different sort of sinners and righteous? And while I understand why this was made, because in a like for example Dante's hell and everything, why these distinctions were made was in part because it was very useful to remember sins like this. For example, if you say that you will be boiled in oil for heresy, you know that heresy is bad, and something really horrible is bound to happen to you if you follow heretics. If you say that adulterers will be hanged on hooks, well, you know that adultery is bad, and hanging on hooks, well, it's smart. And if you know that those who give alms will forever listen to angelic songs, well, I better help out all those poor people if I want to hear those angelic tunes, So simultaneously, yes, there are, and no, there aren't. And when it comes to yes, the answer that the way that you have the what was I going to say? Oh man, I'm getting old. Also, I don't sleep very much. That's also a problem. So yes, there are no levels and in specific punishments or specific rewards for very specific good deeds or specific sins, but different relationship to Christ our God. Bye.